going on, everybody? So we are out here today at, what is this place called, Charles?
Three Peaks Oasis.
Three Peaks Oasis, Cedar City, Utah. Anyway, we had a cool opportunity to present itself. We're out here for the WORCS race today, and here's what we got. We have a 2021 Honda 450RX, and we have Charles's bike. Charles, what do you got?
21 Husqvarna FX 450.
So we are gonna ride these things today. We want to do a versus between these two bikes. So we thought, you know what? Let's do it in like a real race scenario. Let's come to a WORCS race, and Charles and I are gonna be in the same classes today, and we're gonna ride the bikes. We're gonna do one race on each, and what's cool about WORCS, it's an hour-long race. So yeah, you get plenty of seat time. We're gonna ride them, we're gonna race on them, we do a lot of bench racing, and then at the end of today, we're gonna come back and tell you which one of these two bikes we liked more in different categories, and ultimately, we're gonna tell you which bike we would like more. Now, Charles here, he's a fanboy of Husky, and he was a Honda guy for life. Charles, give a little background here. So you were a Honda guy for a lot of years.
Shoot, I never thought I'd have anything else, but
so why did you make the switch to Husqvarna then?
Chance talked me into it. I just wanted to try something new and see what all the rage was about, and I actually dig it. I love this bike.
But do you think will make you a believer out of the 450RX today?
I'm not sure. I mean, there's certain things I like about the Hondas, but overall, I've been liking this bike better just because it seems more geared towards off-road, and
okay.
I do a lot of off-road and a little bit of track, and this seems like the perfect bike for it.
All right, well, you guys comment below, which bike do you think Charles and I are gonna like more today? Like I said, we're doing a gate drop, Cedar City WORCS. It's gonna be a good time, so stay tuned and we'll talk to you later. All right, peeps, I just finished up the first moto, and you guys are gonna hate me. My GoPro froze on the starting line, and it didn't record. So I just did an hour of suffering, trying to give you guys some GoPro footage, and it didn't happen. Charles got some, so yeah, anyway, we got another race in an hour and a half. The track was the roughest track I've ever ridden. I'll take big whoops over what we just did, because that was the most square edgy, just hard packed track I've ever raced on, and it was an hour long. And to give you guys kind of an idea of how bad it was for my hands, check this out. I have some serious blisters going on. And yeah, my other hand's almost that bad. So anyway, I'm gonna hop on the FX 450 here in a little bit, and we'll come back, give you my feedback, and then we'll talk about the two bikes. right, so we just finished up 2 races today at Cedar City WORCS. They were hour motos. Let's just talk about the bikes, Chuck, and what we liked and disliked about each one in certain categories, and we'll pick a winner. Deal?
Okay, yeah.
So to kick things off, let's just talk about ergonomics. Did you have a preference of one bike over the other, just right or triangle?
Oh, Husky for sure. This thing, it feels like it sits lower, and the gas tank, all the weight's at the bottom. Like, kind of felt like the other one was kind of top heavy. It was bugging me. Felt like I was sitting really high on the bike, where this one I was in there and it was just super comfy.
I second that. I do feel like the Husky feels like it does sit lower. I'm used to the Honda just because I have the R version of this bike. So for me, I felt at home right away, but I did like, for me, if I had to choose one just on ergos, I like how the Husky doesn't have the big tall tank. And that kind of leads us into handling, because if I was choosing one of these two off handling alone, I would take the Husqvarna, because this bike is what, 10 pounds lighter on paper.
Yep.
And because the tank is lower, I think it gets the center of gravity lower. And I just feel like that bike just leaned over and cornered easier. I don't know how your thoughts are.
I agree 100%. Like, if it was a super tight corner, this thing feels like maybe a little more twitchy, I guess.
Yeah.
You could get a really tight corner, but if you have anything with a berm or whatever and you want to track through it,
yeah,
this thing for sure.
I just feel like the Husky, I could switch directions a little bit easier. If I was coming in a corner, maybe a little bit hot, and you know, I have that moment where like, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to make this rut or this berm, the Husky just kind of falls over. So I would give handling, we both would, to the Husqvarna. As far as brakes go, I like the Honda brake more. It engages faster, doesn't feel as squishy as the Husqvarna. What do you choose?
So I'm biased to the Husky, but the reason I like it, it is kind of mushy. That one's more crisp, but I feel like I can modulate it just a little bit better.
Okay, so modulation, but as far as overall stopping power, I would go with the Honda on that, right?
Honda, yeah.
Okay. Suspension, this is a big category. Look guys, they're both soft motorcycles, and it's because they're built for off-road. One thing I noticed, and this is where I kind of lean more towards the Honda in this, is that coming out of some of the corners where there's really bad acceleration chop, I feel like the Honda shock would stay contacted to the ground better and track better and give me better acceleration, whereas with the Husqvarna, felt like it was just kind of stepping out side to side. It wasn't really tracking that great. So suspension-wise, I was on board with the Honda more. But again, these are stock. You could always go get these reval, but we're judging these things stock.
Yep.
What about you?
I hate to admit it, I think that suspension's a little better. It's a little more stiff, but stock, I like how soft this is, just because I'm trying to be a well-rounded rider, do a little everything. So little track, little works racing, little desert. So with this being softer, I feel like it's a little more versatile. You can always stiffen this up just a little bit if you want.
What else do we need to cover? The clutches, honestly, I'm good with either one. I think they're both good hydraulic clutches. The clutch pull on the Husky was a little bit easier.
Yep. As far as modulation, I didn't notice a big difference, but this one's easier and I'm a heavy clutcher. So for that reason, I like it.
I'm not a big clutcher. Honestly, like I could go with either one. I just like the brakes more. I don't like the Magura brake all that much. Last thing let's cover is motor. This is a big kind of deciding factor between these two bike stock. They both have multiple maps. They have traction control. I'll start with you, Charles. What do you think?
Well, so number one, so we were in the aggressive map on this, and we were on the mellow map with that Honda. That mellow map is way more aggressive than the aggressive map on the Husky, but I did like that about it, because with this being so smooth, I feel like overall I could be more aggressive, where I was more timid on that because it just kind of kick it out or whatever. And so for me, this was easier to ride.
So I'm gonna, I agree with Charles, the fact that this is the more aggressive engine. It has more head off the bottom, and Honda's known for that. That's not a surprise. I will say though that I'm a third gear guy. I don't like to ride second gear as much as possible. Yeah. I like the fact that I could, on the Honda, stay in third gear in some of the loamier, tighter turns and feel like the bike could still pull me out. The Husqvarna, I rode it second, and so I would come into the corner with the same idea and then find myself having to shift down to second, not realizing it to get out of that corner. So, I mean, they're both good for their different reasons. I feel like if you're more like, if you're doing a lot of mountain riding, trail and stuff like that, then you're probably gonna like the motor on the Husqvarna just because it is more mellow.
Yep. Yeah.
So I would say if you're riding a lot of track and you do want a little bit more aggressive map, or maybe you're a little bit heavier rider and you do want a little bit more grunt, then I'll go with the Honda. If you're like Charles, where you do a lot of different riding, you're doing tight single track, desert riding, whatever, then yeah, maybe the mellow map would be the little bit better option for you. You know, both bikes are really good. Honestly, I'd be happy with either one, but if I had to take one bike today that was bone stock, knowing that I wasn't gonna be able to change anything, I'd probably go with the Honda just because it'd be great. I think it's great for what we rode today, but me being more of a track guy, I feel like I could still take this and it would be good on the track, but there's things that I like about both of them. Did we switch you? So you were a Honda guy, and now you're on a white KTM.
Yeah.
Would you go back to Honda after today, Charles?
If I was doing mostly track, I would take that Honda any day.
What about works racing?
For works racing, I dig this. I'm way more comfortable. I feel like I'm cornering better and doing everything. And even on like the starts, it was easier, even though that is way more aggressive power, just my riding style, I feel like it's easier to get a good start on this bike. And just be able to use the power instead of just...
I like the shock suspension on this, but I like the lightweight feeling and the better handling on that. And then there's, you know, other things in between that we kind of go back and forth on. But so yeah, there you have it. I would take the Honda, Charles would take the Husqvarna, both really good bikes. So if you are shopping for one of these two, well, hopefully this kind of help you decide, you know, what areas, you know, you might be searching for in a motorcycle. So leave your comments below in the comment section. You know, what bike do you have? What do you like about it? What do you dislike about it? If you could pick between one of these two, which one would you get? Because we want to, you know, get the conversation started. And if there's any questions that we didn't really answer for you today, well, feel free to ask those below. And Charles and I, we will get on there and respond back to you. Anything left to say, Charles?
I think that's it. Get out, go ride, and subscribe to our channel for more helpful content.
And we'll see you on the trails.